Hi, and welcome back to part 3 of our farm shop build. We've got some nice weather coming. We recently got some snow and some winds. It wasn't too bad, but we're getting some nice weather coming. So I've scheduled a crane. I've got some guys coming to help me. Hopefully we can make this crane scheduling work between the bad weather that we're going to be getting and the nice weather that we have now. If you're not yet a subscriber, please hit that button, follow along. I hope you find these videos useful if you're going to be building your own, whether it be a pole barn, a farm shop, or whatever. And as I said before, this is how I do it. May not necessarily be the way that you do it, but this is how I've been doing it for, well, since 1989. One thing that I've failed to mention in the previous video are the fasteners that we're using. So we're using these 3-inch screws to fasten our purlins on, and then we're using these GRK 5/16 by 5 1/8 fasteners. They're a structural screw. We've been using these for a lot of years on our carriers and also our treated skirt board. It's got a Torx number 30 bit that we have for our impact drivers, and they go in really well. We'll put 6 of these on each carrier, so there's a total of like 12 screws per post. 6 on the outside carrier, 6 on the inside carrier. It well meets code for what we're doing, and I just really like those. They seem to, if there's a little bit of a twist to your carrier, or for that matter, anything that you're using, those screws will take that twist right out of the 2x material and straighten it right up, flatten it down. So those are the screws, the fasteners that we are using for this project. Carriers get 6 screws, 6 of those GRK screws at every pole. And when one carrier butts up to another carrier, such as right here, each one of them gets 6 screws into the pole. That goes for not only outside carriers, but also inside carriers. These are the truss ties that I was talking about, these 2x6s. And our trusses are every 4 foot on center, not 8 foot, as I think one viewer thought we were doing them. If they were 8 foot on center, then yes, they do sit right on top of a post. But ours are 4 foot on center, so one truss will sit on top of the post, get screwed into this truss tie, and then 4 foot over, another truss gets screwed to the edge of that 2x6 truss tie. Now, truss ties, in this case, is 17 inches long. I have a 2x12, which measures 11 7/8, so just figure 12 inches. And then I also have a heel height on my trusses of 6 inches, which means from here up to here. What I did was cut each one of these 2x6s 17 inches long, so that I'll have them come up onto the truss heel height and be screwed into that area of the truss. And then these truss ties are screwed into the carrier with 6 of the 3-inch screws. Here's a little tip that's very handy. If your truss company that you buy your trusses from does not mark your trusses every 2 foot where the purlin goes, I suggest that you do it while they're sitting in a pile. And if the peaks all line up, then you just pull your measurements every 2 foot. Starting here, this is at 3 inches. The 2 before goes below that. So from there to there and right on down the whole length of the truss, the layout lines are every 2 foot. The reason that this is here is the 2 before will go right over top of that, below that mark right there. We'll go right here. And then your ridge peak steel cap will cover down to here so that you can screw into that 2x4. This will save you a lot of time when you're up in the trusses, you know, trying to pull a layout mark, take your tape measure, and every 2 foot you gotta put a mark where your purlin will go. Well, this just saves you a whole lot of time. While they're on the ground, go ahead and mark them. Right now, Jim, the crane operator, is making sure that everything's going to clear as far as height on the trusses, and he has enough boom height. We'll be setting the very first truss here shortly. First truss is set. We're going to unhook, swing around, and grab another one. Yeah. Hooked up the last truss. This is the one we should have started with. And here we go. This is a gable truss, and you can tell the 2x4 is running horizontally, just so that when we put our sheet metal on, we have a place to fasten the screws to. Otherwise, it's just that web, and it's kind of hard to always hit that web with your screws. Okay, going right over top of me. And coming right in. Today we're putting on roof purlins, and roof purlins are what the steel roof is going to attach to, and they are every 2 foot on center. And if you remember earlier in the video, I told you about the pencil marks, and as you can see, we're running it right on the pencil mark, and then where it's where there's a joint, half on the truss are both purlins, and then down here we're running what's called a lateral bracing. Some people call it a rat run. So we're at the point where we're just putting on purlins, lateral bracing. Weather's going to get pretty crappy here. Not sure how far we're going to get, but we'll get as far as we can, and then we'll move on to the other side. It's pretty redundant. You see one side, you've seen the other side, so we probably won't need to film the other side. Just let you know how this process is. We've got a 1 foot overhang for this barn, and I've got to put a fascia board on the outside of all those truss tails for a 1 foot overhang. Now, we're not going to get to that in this video, but I'm going to show you on another barn that we're building what that will look like when it's completed. We actually have got 2 buildings going on at the same time. This is an addition onto our hog barn. It's 24 by 24, but I've already cut the truss tails at 10.5 inches and put the 2x6 fascia on for my 1 foot overhang. That's exactly the same thing that we'll be doing on our big farm shop. I was very pleased with how our truss set went. Had Shalott crane with a crane come out. The operator's name is Jim, and he is about as good and smooth of an operator that you could ever ask for. Been using Jim for probably 20 years. He's been doing it so long, he takes all the work out of it. He'll slide them trusses in just as nice as can be and set them down gently. And then you go ahead and screw them to the truss ties. Had a great crew helping me. Tim and Vance on the ground, hooking up the trusses and sending up the 2x4 bracing that we needed and the lineal that we needed to space out the trusses. And then up in the trusses was Jeff, John, myself, and Russ. And we had the whole thing done from the time the crane pulled in till they pulled back out, just under 2 hours. So that went very well. And then the next thing we had to do was put the purlins on and the rat run lateral bracing. So it's getting nasty out. We're probably going to be a couple days before we get back on it, and I guess this is a good time to stop the video because basically this is everything that needed to be done for framing. The next thing will be putting the roof steel on, side steel, and my wife and I have still got to go over and pick out the colors, although I'm pretty sure she wants black and white, and I like that. That'll be fine. So we got to get our colors picked out, and they've got to make the steel. There's a place about 3 or 4, maybe 5 miles from here that makes all the steel products for a pole barn. So it's pretty easy just to call them up or go over there and tell them what you want, and they'll put you right on the list and they'll have you done in a week or 2. We're supposed to get some bad weather, so this will work out fine. So I guess we're gonna wrap this up, call it a video. I can't think of anything more that we can include on this as far as the framing portion of the video. Everything is now put together and ready for steel. Do I have to put some windows in it yet? I might do that in a couple days. I got some windows that get ordered, and I've already got one here that I've been sitting in this pole barn for 6 months, and I need to get it out of here, get it installed. So I think we're going to wrap this up, call it a video, and I want to say thank you for watching, and until the next time, take care and God bless.